My phone was at 3%. The Uber was already moving, and the driver hadn't looked at me once. Not at pickup, not when I got in, not when I said the address out loud just to hear something in the silence. I checked the app. Plate matched, name matched, everything matched. Then my phone buzzed. One notification, white text on black, Mal O version 1.0.0. Download complete. I didn't download anything. The car kept moving. The driver kept staring straight ahead. And somewhere in the back of my mind, one question started forming. What just installed itself on my phone? Act 1, the ride. It was a Friday, late, like past 2 in the morning late. I've been at a friend's place on the wrong side of the city. Wrong side, meaning the kind of streets where the Uber surge pricing kicks in at midnight and doesn't stop. I took the ride anyway because I was tired and I didn't want to think about it. The driver's name was Marcus. At least, that's what the app said. License plate matched. Photo matched well enough. Profile had 4.8 stars and a little badge that said, Quiet Mode Preferred. I figured that explained the silence. I put my earbuds in, leaned against the window, and watched the streetlights go by. That's when the route did something weird. The ETA jumped from 22 minutes to 31. Then back to 19. Then it recalculated completely. Like the app forgot where I lived for a second. I figured it was traffic or a bad signal. I pulled out one earbud and looked at the screen. That's when I noticed the notification still sitting there. Malo version 1.0.0. Download complete. I hadn't touched it yet. I just dismissed it the way you dismiss anything that shows up on your phone at 2 in the morning. But it kept sitting in my notification tray, and something about the name felt off. So I tapped it. The app opened to a black screen. No logo, no loading animation, just black, with a single white cursor blinking in the top left corner. Like a command prompt from 20 years ago. I sat there waiting for something to happen. Then my camera turned on. It just activated on its own, pointed straight at the back seat beside me. I looked at the screen. There was someone sitting next to me. Tall. Not sitting, exactly. More like folded into the seat. A long, dark shape with something wrong about the head. The skull looked too wide. I could see it in the screen. Plain as anything. I turned around. Nothing. Just the empty seat and the dark window and the city lights smearing past the glass. I turned back to the screen. The camera was still on. The seat was empty. I told myself it was the window. Bad angle. Tired eyes playing tricks in the dark. I even laughed a little. This short, quiet laugh that I immediately felt embarrassed about because Marcus still hadn't moved. I locked my phone and put it in my pocket. But here's the thing. I kept thinking about the shape of that head. The way it wasn't quite right. The way it looked like something that had learned what a human head was supposed to look like and got it about 90% of the way there. The car slowed down. My street. Marcus pulled up to the curb and stopped. I grabbed my bag, said thanks, and got out. The door closed behind me. He pulled away without a word. I stood on the empty sidewalk and looked at my building. All the lights were off. Act 2. Inside the apartment. I did all the normal things. Keys on the hook by the door, shoes off, lights on, every single one, which I told myself was just a habit. I dropped my bag on the couch and went to the kitchen and drank a glass of water standing at the sink. Normal. All of it normal. Then I checked my phone. Malo had sent a notification. Not a text, not an alert, a photo. I opened it. It was me, taken from behind. I was walking up to my front door, bag over my shoulder, key already in my hand. The timestamp in the corner said 47 seconds ago. I stood very still in my kitchen. I went straight to settings and found the app. Pressed delete. The icon shook the way apps do when they're about to go. Then it stopped. The screen went normal. I breathed out. 10 seconds later, the notification came back. Malo version 1.0.0. Installation complete. I tried again. Same thing. Under 10 seconds. Both times. I turned off my Wi-Fi. Turned off my data. Tried a third time. The app was gone for maybe 4 seconds before it was just back, sitting on my home screen like it had always been there. So I put the phone face down on the counter and went to the bathroom to wash my face. I ran the cold water, leaned over the sink, stayed there with my eyes closed for a second longer than I needed to. Then I looked up into the mirror. Mallow was standing behind me, that skull face close and clear, jaw hanging open just slightly, dark eye sockets pointed straight at mine through the glass. 1 second, maybe less, then it was gone. Just my bathroom, just the fluorescent light, and the water still running in my own face, which did not look good. I didn't sleep. I went back to the couch and sat with my back against the armrest so I could see the whole room. I left every light on. I pulled up Reddit on my laptop because I didn't want to touch the phone. And I typed in Mallow version 1.0.0 and hit search. The SCP Foundation wiki entry came up first. SCP-1471, a free mobile app, 100 megabytes, no developer listed, no reviews. It generates and sends images of a humanoid entity. Tall, human body, canine skull. The entry calls it Mallow. It appears in reflective surfaces, mirrors, windows, screens. The Foundation classifies it as Euclid, which in SCP terms means contained but unpredictable. The behavior pattern is simple. It watches, it doesn't touch, it doesn't speak, it just gets closer. I kept scrolling. There was a Reddit thread posted 2 years ago, a few hundred comments deep, people arguing about whether the app was real or just an ARG. Normal stuff. I almost closed it. Then I saw the reply at the bottom, posted 3 hours ago. Account already deleted by the time I was reading it. It stops being shy after 72 hours. I looked at my phone on the counter. I didn't want to pick it up, but I needed to see the install timestamp. I flipped it over. The screen was already on, and in the back reflection between notifications, I could see my hallway behind me. The motion sensor light was on. I hadn't triggered it. I was sitting on a couch, completely still. I turned around. The hallway was empty, but my smart home speaker lit up on the shelf. That small blue ring it gets when the motion sensor fires, and then the little chime and the voice, calm and flat the way those things always are. Motion detected. Living room. I looked around the room. I was the only one in it. I looked back at the phone screen, at the timestamp under the app icon. Installed 71 hours, 43 minutes ago. Act 3, the peephole. 71 hours and 43 minutes. I had 17 minutes. I got up off the couch and started moving. I didn't have a plan exactly. I just needed to do something with my hands. I grabbed every towel from the bathroom cabinet and started covering the mirrors. Bathroom first. I walked in, pulled the towel up over the mirror, and pressed the corners against the wall. That's when I saw it through the fabric. Mallow's face was already pressed against the other side, right there, close enough that I could see the texture of the skull through the towel. The jaw was open wider than before. Not moving, just open, waiting. I backed out of the bathroom fast and knocked my phone off the hallway table. It hit the floor and the screen cracked. One sharp line split in the display right down the middle. I picked it up anyway. The screen stayed on. By now, the crack caught the light in a way that split the reflection into pieces. Mallow was in every single piece. Same face, same jaw. Looking at me from every angle at once, like the crack had made more windows instead of breaking one. I flipped the phone over and pressed it face down against my chest. Then the smart home hub died. Not a slow shutdown, just off. Every light in the apartment cut out at the same time. Total dark. The kind of dark where you genuinely can't tell if your eyes are open. The breaker. It had to be the breaker panel, which was in the hallway. I turned on the phone flashlight. The cracked screen made the beam flicker slightly, like bad wiring. I walked to the hallway panel, slow, one hand on the wall. At the end of the hallway, Mal-O was standing there, fully visible. Not a reflection, not a glimpse, just standing there at the far end, in the beam of my light, tall enough that the skull was near the ceiling. It wasn't moving. It was just looking at me the way it always looked at me, patient, completely still, like it had all the time it needed. I didn't move either. I don't know how long we stood there. Then I reached sideways and hit the breaker. Every light came back on. Mal-O was gone. I stood in the hallway for a second, just breathing. Then I heard the scratching. Front door, coming from the other side, low and slow. Fingernails, maybe, or something shaped like fingernails. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. The hallway outside was empty. Just the corridor and the exit sign at the far end. That flat red glow it always has at 3 a.m. The scratching stopped, and I heard it again. Same sound, same rhythm, but it wasn't coming from the door anymore. It was coming from behind me. I turned around slowly. Mal-O was standing 2 feet away, right there in my own living room, close enough that I could see the detail in the bone, the ridge above the eye sockets, the way the jaw hung just slightly open. The skull was pointed straight at my face. I didn't move. It didn't reach for me. It just watched. Then the smart home hub rebooted. The lights flooded back on. The blue ring pulsed once. Mal-O was gone. I sat down on the floor, back against the wall, and stayed there. The apartment was silent, completely silent. The app icon was still on my home screen. I opened Mal-O one more time. The rear camera came on, pointing back at the apartment behind me. The room looked empty, but the front door was open, and I never unlocked it. Subscribe if you want to know what follows you home next.